Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Perpetual Chess. We will introduce the person sitting here with me in a minute, but first wanted to give a shout out to our sponsors, Chessable. There's this new course out called Gustafsson's Aggressive 1 E4 Part 2, which we will be discussing eventually. We got some other business to attend to as well. Also, Ivan Sokolov has a guide out for trainers that looks amazing. Tons of new stuff. Go take a look. If you sign up, please use the link in the description. If you sign up for Chessable Pro, that is, which also offers all kinds of additional features like Puzzle Connect. As for the person joining us today, he is the new co-host of Perpetual Chess. I'm thrilled to announce he is also a renowned opening theoretician, commentator, streamer, recovering Team Magnus member. I interviewed him in March from an undisclosed location. It was later disclosed that he was working with Ian Nepomniachtchi for the candidates. We'll be talking about that. This time he's in a disclosed location in his home in Hamburg. As we mentioned, he's also a popular Chessable author, and his latest collaboration with CM Vyacheslav Nemec has just been released, Gustafsson's Aggressive E4 Part 2. I've been checking out. I'm excited to discuss the openings in it. It is some fun choices, but we'll get to, like I said, eventually we'll get to that. But first and foremost, let's welcome back to the pod, Grandmaster Jan Gustafsson.
Hi. Were you serious about the co-host thing? Am I on? Can we do this every week, though?
This is a tryout. We'll see how it goes.
Oof, I don't deal well with pressure.
Okay. I think you can manage, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the people want after they hear this interview. So Jan, when we last, first of all, for listeners who've been listening for a long time, I have kind of an unwritten rule on the pod that I generally, no matter how big a shot a guest is, I generally only have them on a podcast about once per year. I try to space out the guests, even though there's a lot of people I'm interested in hearing from. But Jan caught me at a busy moment in the summer. He's got a Chessable course to promote, let's be real. And people have told me that he's an entertaining guest. So I decided to break the rule this time. You guys can let me know what you think. Jan, how does it feel to be flagrantly violating the unwritten rules of Perpetual Chess?
First of all, I'm upset you keep calling me a guest. Which one is it? Co-host, guest? I'll be here every week. We'll have these other chess punks on once a year, maximum. Those rules don't apply to me.
How about we have you only for the Adult Improver interviews?
Let's do it. I'm ready. What's going on in the Adult Improver world? Anybody making big jumps? I hear there's a streamer. What's his name? Tyler the Creator?
Yeah, very good.
Who went all the way to 1900?
Yeah, it is super impressive. All the guy does is play on his phone with like a baby in his lap, and he's gone from beginner to almost 2000. So, in the Adult Improver space, Levy Rosman has joined our ranks, and he's unstoppable, like going 8 out of 9 in like IM level tournaments. Are you following these stories?
I'm very busy keeping track of Bronny James, so I have limited space for Levy Rosman's road to Grandmaster. But Bronny shot 5 out of 11 in Summer League. This is the breakthrough.
Excellent.
2 out of 5 of 3.
And how do you feel about the nepotism? So here we are talking NBA, so I'll do a brief explainer for any listeners lost.
Sorry, Donnie, it took 1 minute.
Lost already. So LeBron James, one of the best players of all time, his son is like kind of a mediocre professional level basketball player, like probably wouldn't have been drafted on merit. But LeBron is on his last legs and said he wanted to play with his son. So his team drafted his son. How do you feel about this, like from a philosophical point of view, Jan?
I'm all pro nepotism. I just lack the family connections. I'd do it. I'd play for the Lakers for 4 years for $8 million, or I don't know what's an equivalent in the chess world. Like, can I nominate my daughter for the German national team?
Yes, that would be an equivalent. Do you think you can get her in?
I would think so, but I don't know. It's going to be a grind and not worth the time. But no, it's how the world goes. No, like, poor kid. Seems like a lot of scrutiny, but I do it for the money.
Yeah, I mean, not that kid's going to need any money, but I mean, it's also like, even if you're not an NBA level player, like, it seems like a fun job, you know? Anyway,
we gotta get to chess, Ben. We're losing the chess punks already.
We really are. Okay. Well, we're gonna start with the candidates in the World Championship. So, can you now reveal, when we last chatted? I think you said you were in Spain, even though it was undisclosed. Were you at a training camp?
Where was I? No, I was in Madeira. Where's that? Portugal?
You tell me. I'm an ignorant American.
Yeah, I was in Portugal on an island in front of, I don't know where it is, in front of Africa. It was nice. Funchal. Yeah, that was a training camp.
Okay. So other members of Nepo's team there as well?
Yeah.
Okay. You
gotta be careful here.
Yeah.
Already. The hard-hitting questions.
They're just getting started. So the next one, because for some reason I've never been asked to be on anyone's world championship team. So when someone reaches out to you, do they immediately offer financial terms, or do you just kind of like, do they try to get you to say the number first? How does that part work, the negotiation?
It's very awkward, but I think it's me. I'm very awkward talking about any kind of numbers. So in the end, you always hope you get something. But I think it depends on the person. You know, this top chess, some people have managers or federations or whatever, we're helping them. Some people do their own stuff. I don't know. I don't think there's a fixed process. But I've been told it's good to get the first offer and then reject it. Unless the first offer hurts your feelings too much, like Paul George. Then you end up in Philadelphia. No one wants that.
Right.
Sorry, Donnie. Sorry, we can't help it.
Back to sports again. So did you know when you agreed to do the camp, did you actually know what you were going to be paid? Or you're just like, well, I hope it's reasonable?
I'm not sure I can go into details, but I normally hope it's reasonable. And then, you know, sometimes it also depends how people do. It's a grind. It's a grind, the seconding.
Okay, potentially last hard-hitting question. And you discussed in the past, like when you're on Team Magnus, one of the years he won, you got a nice bonus. Do you get a piece of the action? Is there like, if he wins, you get X percentage, or it's not performance-based per se? But
what is this, Ben? Did you get all these questions from Donnie? He's still trying to figure out my net worth. I wasn't aware we only talk finances. This is just shocking. Donnie, I'm still poor. Still hustling. Relax.
Okay. We'll take that as a well, he didn't win, so I guess that's a good transition to what you actually thought of the candidates. Both, I mean, first let's talk about the chess, and then let's talk about your Toronto experience. But what do you think of the chess?
Frankly, as a second year, so much in your own little bubble, hanging out with the boss, clicking on some openings, following the games, taking naps during games, that you're not that focused on like the quality of the games and so on. I thought everybody thought it was, I think, probably exciting for the viewers, was a close race, blah, blah, blah. As for the quality, I don't know. I think everybody is nervous. You can tell it's different than a regular super tournament. And sometimes, of course, can lead to more prep and exciting performances and new ideas. Can also lead to unusual mistakes. So I think it's a mixed bag, but overall was exciting and not that many draws, right? So I don't think we can complain too much about chess is dead. All these top players only make draws. When the stakes are high, like games usually get generated.
Yeah, it certainly was the case in the candidates. And of course, there was a lot of discussion of the many surprising opening choices, like Prague with the delayed Schliemann or whatever, and Nakamura, of course, early on against Caruana with the dodgy Sicilian. Did you going in, do you give much thought to like what sort of openings you would see in this event? I mean, it seemed like there were so many surprises that you kind of would have had to throw the book out the window early on. Did you feel that way?
To some extent, like I don't think it's a big secret if you're a 1e4 player in the Nepomniachtchi played, I think exclusively 1e4 throughout the tournament, that you expect certain things like the Berlin, for example, obviously is a popular opening, and there are some other big ones. Those you can more or less take a look at independent of who the opponents are, because they're always around. But now with computers so strong, it's also become easier to prepare a dodgy little sideline, and if you keep clicking, you can probably make it zeros everywhere. So it feels like people are going that way to a certain extent. Also in Nepomniachtchi's case, he won 2 games against the Berlin early on, and then people thought, maybe he prepared something there, so they started playing some sidelines. But it seems an overall trend that you can prepare smaller, complex whatever it is, Hikaru was playing this 3 bishop c5 against the Spanish, or the c5 g6 you mentioned. Gukesh had some funky stuff, some early h6 in the Nimzo and so on. And you can do those and click it to zeros, and then look at all the main lines. Can be a bit deceptive too, because often there's a deviation, and even though you can get it to zeros with a computer, the positions are fundamentally often a little more shaky than if you play some developing moves. So it's a mixed bag, but surprise value is, of course, big in top-level chess. Therefore, it has its pluses, has its minuses. It's very case by case. I don't think there's a general trend that you can only play sidelines now, or you can only play main lines now. Gotta be a bit balanced, ideally. Surprise first, but it's always a guessing game.
And I have a few follow-ups. Number one, hearing you discuss the Berlin line, here on the pod, I've been giving you credit for that knight h2 idea. Are you willing to take credit for it?
I'm willing to take credit. I don't deserve any, but I'm always happy.
Okay.
Happy to take all kinds of credit.
And the other question is, so a lot of these newer openings were essayed by the likes of Prague, the younger generation. Do you think that of course, I did mention Naka sprung some surprises too, but do you think that there's a sort of, were you surprised by the willingness to experiment of the younger generation?
Not really. I think it comes down, in the end, it comes down to putting in the time. Prague, obviously, clicks a lot, has a lot of ideas, and some he considers worthwhile there. Once again, this he played this a6, f5 in the Spanish. You don't want to do every game, but he made a good judgment call, or at least he won the game. So with hindsight, it was good. They could do it once, and clearly a lot of work is being done there. And kids are flexible. It's not like us who had these rich lives growing up with all the partying, all the drugs, all the sports. These kids, they just sit in front of their computer and click on chess moves. It's different time span. It
does seem different, but your old friend Peter Svidler was there working on a different team, of course. Like, are you guys sharing meals together and just avoiding chess? How does that aspect work?
We had coffee during the round normally. Once the boys are off to play, we went for a coffee. We mainly talk TV shows as usual, but that's not because we're hiding any secrets. It's just what we're interested in.
Makes sense.
Chess.
Yeah. All right. And we may return to TV shows later. But so you mentioned earlier, so you've mentioned both having coffee and napping during the round, which for some people might be... I
also went to the gym. I had a busy schedule during the round.
Okay.
I go for coffee with Svidler, then I take a nap, then I go to the gym. Then I'd either work or take another nap, depending on circumstances. Also, sometimes boss will be done by then.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, because when I've interviewed people like Erwin Lamy, people who've also worked on high-level teams, they say, you don't need to leave the engine running 24 hours a day anymore. Is your schedule lightened compared to the old days of Team Magnus, say, 8 years ago?
Once again, depends so much on the next opponent, how ready stuff is, what you already have lined up. If the boss can just repeat some old material, or if you need to find some ideas, plug some holes. I mean, it's true, obviously, that you can get a result more quickly because engines are so reliable. You don't have to dig forever for the truth. But it does make it easier. I don't know, if you're playing whoever. Sarana next round, what do we do if he plays e4, e5? The engine doesn't tell you this is the way, right? So you still have to do something.
Gotcha. And in our last interview, you discussed how you'll be going to the Olympiad reasonably soon, coaching the German team. You discussed how you've been workshopping your inspiring speeches. Do you give inspiring speeches to Nepo too, or is that not your role for that particular tournament?
Not sure how much inspiring I have in me, but the role is a bit of everything. Like usually you go for walks and dinner and, try to keep the ship steady. And of course, things can change very quickly with the results of a game, the mood, the tournament situation, and so on. So you do the usual, never get too high, never get too low, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
and then hope they win chess games.
I think you mentioned that one last time. You need a few.
That's the only one I got. I need a few more.
All right. And so we've got the World Championship set now, of course, announced that it's going to be in Singapore. Everyone feels like Ding has no chance. Not to put words in your mouth, but are you in that camp as well?
When is it? Is it official? I don't follow chess news. November?
I believe it's November, yeah.
I don't know. I've seen Ding around a few times now. I met him in, where was it? Karlsruhe. And yeah, well, it's very obvious he's not playing up to his former level. Because whether you think he's a worthy world champion or not, he was clearly a top 3 player, let's say, from, 2015 till 2019. And yeah, he's very far from that. I'm not an expert, and also I'm not educated enough on what's been going on with him. I think he talked a bit about the problems he's had. So first I thought I was happy just to see him back in action. But sometimes it's a bit painful to watch, like also his games in Norway chess, where clearly doesn't have confidence. It's not just the blunders, but you can tell he doesn't trust himself. He tries to keep it simple, exchange pieces, and yeah, he's just very far from his former self. As to if he can get back to his level, I have no idea. Of course, if he keeps playing the way he's been playing, he's an underdog against Gukesh and would be against any top player. But World Championship matches have their own laws. And I think last time at least Ding dug deep and kept putting up a fight, even though he also didn't look his best. I don't know, but I think it's too early to proclaim Gukesh the new world champion.
Okay. There you have it. And are you available to work for Gukesh or Ding?
I don't know. I've been telling Ding for years. I'm sitting by the phone waiting for the Ding ring. It never happens. And also, he's into classic rock. I'm not sure I can do it. I think him and Richie Rapport listening to Bob Dylan was a good match. Hope Richie's back.
He just hasn't been introduced to like A Tribe Called Quest and then De La Soul. I'm sure once
Biggie.
Yeah, Biggie.
Let's go, Ding.
Yeah, he does seem like a Biggie guy. And do you have any expectations in terms of openings? Like, do you think the trend of unexpected openings will continue in the World Championship?
I don't know. If we expect them, they're no longer unexpected, right? Like, Ding normally has been sticking to his guns, sometimes to his detriment in E4, E5. He's often repeated lines he's played in the past that, I wasn't so big on to begin with, and he's been getting into trouble every now and then. But he also did, especially with white, his fair share of surprising. This D4, C4, knight F3, H3, or whatever. I think people try to come up with ideas. For Gukesh, he's never had such a fixed repertoire. Like obviously he's 17, so he hasn't been playing at the top 4 ages, and he hasn't had time to try to kill the game, which I think he also doesn't want to do, and play whatever. The Berlin or the Petrov. So he's been very jumpy and it's worked for him. I don't know what approach you come with for a match. Normally people have like 1 or 2 surprises or deviations, but then you also have some main openings where the bulk of the debate is being had. At least it was like that in the Magnus matches and also in the Nepomniachtchi Ding match. So of course you try to come up with some surprises, especially with white. But I would guess that Gukesh is also busy studying whatever main opening he wants to play against. Probably D4 Ding is not that much of an E4 guy, but obviously you cover both.
Yeah, makes sense. It will be interesting to see. And so last thing, was this your first time in Toronto?
Yeah, beautiful city.
Yeah.
My first time in Canada.
Yeah, I've heard good things. I've never made it there either. And did you get to do anything fun there, or was it all, other than coffee with Fiddler, like any big adventures, any sporting events, nights at the disco?
LeBron. I sat four rows behind LeBron.
Wow.
I'm a big hater, so I didn't acknowledge him. But yeah, we went to the Raptors-Lakers game.
Oh, fun. Nice. And Any other North American travels on that trip, or straight in and out?
I was at, what's it called? Niagara Falls.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Is it? There's a bunch of water.
Yeah.
Not a lot of tourists. It's like Las Vegas without the gambling and the strip clubs. Or maybe they have gambling.
Yeah, there's a casino there. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's no Grand Canyon or no Zion National Park, but it's nice.
Grand Canyon was cooler. I've been there.
Yeah. Okay. So we got a bunch of questions from the denizens of Twitter. Shout out to everyone for contributing the good questions.
Big fan.
And we're going to go straight to the nonsense ones. We've done too much hard-hitting content already. So first one, Neil Bruce. I know you're a big Neil Bruce fan. He asked if we should play a drinking game based on how many times you make fun of adult improvers in this podcast.
What do you mean making fun? I know your audience. I'm trying to... connect,
right?
Sell them my course.
Yes, which we will return to as well. Next up, from Tarjei Svensson, for course, famed chess.com reporter. He asks the origins of your, or at least it's been attributed to you, famous quote, chess is a constant struggle between my desire not to lose and my desire not to think. Is that original material, Jan?
It sounds too smart for me, frankly, so I would guess I stole it somewhere. I don't have thoughts that deep, but I know it's been attributed to me. Yeah,
you're light on your feet with the comedy, but not so much like the written prepared jokes, right?
Eh.
Okay. Denying credit. I felt like it might have been a Donner quote, which, by the way, Jan, I finally read.
Sounds more like Donner.
I finally read The King, and
it's good, right?
I mean, you had recommended it, and I can't get you ever to recommend a chess book, so I think my expectations were a little too high. I found it to have high highs, but boring at times, and terribly outdated at times. But there were parts of it that were great.
Well, you disagree with the takes on women's chess, or which part?
Yeah, shocker, right? Yeah, his. But then I had a few people email me. Thank you to those who reached out. I mean, they said it was tongue in cheek. I mean, but the humor just didn't translate. I don't know if it's a translation issue or an I'm ignorant issue, but anyway, now I've got to question your book recommendations in the future.
It's all right. I haven't read any books, so no worries.
I think we teased this last time, but do you have your book lined up for the Olympiad where you have to sit there like it's the old ages and not have any devices while the German team sweats away at the board?
During the European Team Championship, where Germany finished second, but we got robbed, I was reading Batman comics.
Oh, really? How were they?
I'm very mature. It's good stuff.
How did it compare to Donner's The King?
Less wordy. There's more punching. So I'm a fan. Seriously, some of these Batman stories are very good. I don't know why they don't make movies out of those. We get these crappy movies like Batman v Superman, but The Dark Knight Returns, it's great stuff.
Okay.
Long Halloween. So if you need a new activity, you can join me reading Batman graphic novels.
Okay.
So I think I'll get some of those for the Chess Olympiad.
Excellent. We will check for that in the pictures of you. Next nonsense question. This one is from Anthony Levin, also of chess.com. And he asks, where did the term the bathtub originate? He heard you say it so many times, but doesn't know how it started. And you could kindly start with an explainer, or I can.
I don't know. As usual, I'm afraid I can't take credit. I think it's a common term. No, I don't think I made it up. Now, it's this pawn formation. We have 2 pawns in the middle. Then you have these horns, like J.J. Redick likes to talk about. So E3, D3, F4, C4. Looks like a bathtub. So I've been calling it bathtub forever. I don't know if it's more of a German thing, die Badewanne, but it shouldn't be. But to me, it's always been a part of chess lingo. I don't think I made that up.
Yeah, quite evocative. And yeah, I'll link to something with a picture of it for anyone who's who's curious. But please. You were the first person I heard say it, for what it's worth as well. Okay, next up from Enemy of Your Enemy. He asks, can you do more Banter Blitz, please?
Is that your friend, the enemy of your enemy?
I was thinking that too. Yeah, so the saying goes.
I don't know. It's complicated, isn't it? I'd love to do more Battle Blitz. I think I'm doing one. This probably comes out in like 3 weeks. I know you have a busy backlog. But I think I'm doing one on Monday, the 22nd. Other than that, you know how it is. I'm sitting by the phone, waiting for chess.com or Ding to call, give me stuff to do.
Or Hans Niemann.
I'd love to do more Banter Blitzes.
Or Hans Niemann, as we discussed last time, right?
I still haven't called back. I still don't know if it was Hans. I think it was.
Okay.
I heard yesterday, but I haven't verified that Hans has challenged me or the whole chess world. I think everybody to a swimming competition. Is it to swimming now? Is that a Fisher thing?
I mean,
he wants to do a 200 meters race.
He stopped doing his vlogs, so I haven't been able to be as big of Hans fanboy once he put it behind a paywall. So I couldn't tell you for sure, but when I was watching his vlogs, when he was posting them every day, he definitely discussed swimming as like he was dedicated to his fitness regimen and discussed swimming for sure. So, so it is possible that you've been challenged.
I'm a terrible swimmer. You good at swimming?
I mean, I actually do swim laps once in a while, but no, I'm not a good swimmer. Yeah, my technique is horrible. But I tell myself, whatever, I'll spare the listeners with what I was
keep going. This good stuff.
About to say. How about this? So I've been recently in a Seaman Agdestein rabbit hole. I had the pleasure of interviewing him last year and then just recently interviewed his biographer, Otley Grun. I find it fascinating that he's like elite at sports and chess. So off the top of your dome, who are the best athlete chess players that you've come across? Grandmasters.
They're all terrible, right? That's why Magnus is the poster child, because he's reasonably athletic and sick competitive. But other than that, I don't know. Are there any good athletes out there?
Other than Agdestein and sort of Magnus? I mean, but Magnus, like, he's like good for a chess player, right? Not like as an athlete. He's not like good for like, is he good for like a regular person? He's fit, but.
Yeah, that's the trouble we have with everything, no? I'm funny for a chess player, but I wouldn't buy my comedy album.
Funny for a German, too.
That too. I have both of those.
No offense to him. Shout out to all the German listeners.
Shout out to all the German comedians
or former listeners after.
Now, what were we talking about? No, I think people, go to the gym or do swimming or whatever, but it's hard to pursue excellence in athletics and chess, right? It's more part of the job to stay in some amount of shape, which some people take more or less seriously, but I'm not aware. Some guys are in good shape, but I wouldn't know.
Yeah, and I know that like there's a bunch of tennis enthusiasts, but like amongst the grandmaster ranks, but I don't know how.
Yeah, some guys are good at tennis, right? I mean, like Mazetovic or our friend Sebastian Mazet. I think, there are probably a bunch of guys that are reasonably good club level in other sports or table tennis is out there, but I don't know how good they really are. I don't know. There's always these stories about Leko and Gelfand being wizards at table tennis. But are they wizards?
Have you played them? Have you seen them in action?
No.
Okay. Gone over their games? Table tennis?
No.
Okay. Next list for you. This is from King Arthur. And he asked for top 10, but let's try for top 5 because this is already a challenging question. Top 5 people with the best opening knowledge below 2,700 ELO. So I guess that could be you. You could be one.
I don't think so. I mean, it also depends how you define opening knowledge. Like, obviously, I've done work on certain areas, but when it comes to having your own repertoire ready and putting people under pressure, I think being an active professional and playing regularly clearly beats being a second and sometimes working on very compartmentalized things. Obviously, I might be deeper in some random position, but as for a working repertoire, I think you gotta look at the big professionals out there. But I don't have a name. But I think it's a myth. I don't know, a myth that seconds are incredibly good at openings as players, because it's a different skill set. You're more working in a territory way, try to find ideas for somebody else that apply to their strengths. So you got to be a bit flexible, and you might be good at generating ideas, but you're not as obsessed, or at least I'm not as obsessed as when you're a player with, oh my God, I can't have a hole in this line of the Grunfeld for my own repertoire. It's different. So I'm not in question, but I don't know. Lots of great theoreticians out there. Like, I play on the internet and I play random people that I don't even know, and I always wonder, why do they know everything? Is it the Chessable courses? Like, is it Indian kids I'm playing that are spending all their time clicking? Like, I don't know where all this knowledge is coming from.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brave new world. And then there's, of course, you and I are optimists. We don't think people are cheating as much as some others might say.
No, I don't. I don't feel cheated. I just feel old.
Okay, that makes sense. So, but is there any particular grandmaster whose games you always want to check out for what opening ideas they play?
I like this guy Sarana. I'm not sure if he's below 2,700. He's probably above 2,700. But he always plays the same stuff and always puts pressure on people. So Sarana's Titled Tuesday games are a must-watch TV.
Okay.
He's probably above 2,700 by now, isn't he? Sarana. FIDE. Well, I gave you one name on the top 5 list, and he wasn't even eligible. Apologies, King Arthur.
He is over 2,700?
Yeah, he's 2,717.
But I mean, that's...
Adult improver.
But that's compelling podcasting. You know, you looking up the ELO while I sit here in silence.
You got it.
People riveted. All right. We've got 3 questions. Now, I'm no logician, but I think I detect a connection amongst these questions. So I'm going to read them right in a row. They're from Patreon supporters. So thank you, gentlemen, for helping to support Perpetual Chess. So first one is from, so I'm just going to read them all, Jan. First one is from Chris L. He asks, what kind of groveling or smiting of his enemies or incantation will it take to get Jan to bring back the Chicken Chess podcast or something like it, or even regular English language streams? Being exiled from Yanistan is a sorry state. Then we have from Paul Ferris. Paul says, hi, Jan and Ben. I'm a huge fan of you both. Please keep up the great work. Jan, will there be more Chicken Chess Club? It's so funny, and you guys have definite chemistry. It'd be a real shame if it ever really were the final episode. Plus, Peter offers real insight into the workings of FIDE. We would all love more. And then the next one from Anonymous. Under what circumstances would you be willing to resurrect the much-beloved Chicken Chess Club podcast? What if conditions such as free Thai food after every podcast were offered? So there you have it. The only 3 Patreon questions, all just begging you to return, Jan.
I heard free Thai food. I'm not sure I can combine it with my duties as co-host of the Perpetual Chess podcast.
Yeah, that will be challenging.
It's got to be a lot of podcasting. I don't want to repeat myself all that much. But seriously, no, I don't think it's happening. Like was mentioned in the question, Peter offers real insights about FIDE. I don't have any real insights. So those were the uncreative differences that led us astray. But it's all good. I'm not sure if they're still doing episodes, if there's still FIDE stuff going on. I haven't checked. But it's appreciated. And I miss having outlets in English. That's why I keep bothering you. Like, gotta do something.
Okay. Well,
What's your advice, Ben Johnson?
To bother me frequently, although, of course, I would love it if Chicken Chess Club returned as well. But I know you're a busy man.
I'm really not. I got addicted to this card game called Balatro. Spending all my time on that. Anyway, moving on.
Well, I got to hear more about Balatro. We're always looking for new game obsessions.
Don't do it.
Okay, let's move on.
Oh, did you hear? Speaking of card games, I had a poker month in May.
Oh, yeah. So I
had a chess streamer poker challenge. I crushed it. Felt good, like the good old poker days.
Yeah.
I was studying.
I recently played for the first time in years as well. But yeah, because we discussed it briefly in our last interview, and somehow I didn't, you got to work on your self-promotion. I didn't know what was actually happening. So give us a quick report. So it was both.
It was fun. No, she was, hosting, presenting the event. In the end, there were some technical complications. So in the end, it was just 3 chess streamers, Rafael Chess, Jospin, And the goal was to have some sort of rating system to have the highest rating in something called spinning goals, which is basically 3-handed sit-and goes at the end of the month. But I enjoyed it greatly. Gave me purpose. And I was sitting there. I don't know how it was for you in the old days, but we didn't have the technology. We have whatever card runners, our little Hold'em manager programs. But now they have this thing called GTO Wizard.
Yeah.
It tells you exactly. It's like a chess engine. What you're supposed to do in every situation and the EV you lose by doing something else. And yeah, it was very fascinating to study. Obviously, I crushed it because I have a good poker background and these other guys were beginners. So it was a very unfair competition, which I greatly enjoyed. But no, it was a lot of fun to study.
That's cool, yeah.
It's the problem I have with chess. So hard to improve. Poker, I felt like an adult improver, sitting there with my little GTO wizard, memorizing openings. Do you raise king 9 suited 300 from the button? I memorized.
All right. Well, if you come to the World Series next year, I'll meet you there. I promise. And is the GTO, sorry, listeners, I got to ask one question. As a fellow over the hill poker player, is the GTO wizard hard to operate?
No, you import your hands and it tells you. The problem is you can never win. The best you can do is 0-0 because you didn't lose any EV. And that tells you, idiot, this cost you minus 0.20 EV and so on. No, it's very interesting. Obviously, this is GTO is game theory optimized. We're losing listeners again, right? So it's sometimes you got to be exploitive against these fish and so on. But it's very interesting because you can learn poker in a completely new way. Well, I was basically guessing with bet sizing and so on in the old days. Like, what do you do on the Turn River? Now you have answers. It's very fascinating.
It is cool. Yeah. And EV is the expected value, basically, how the play would do in the long run. But let's bring it back to chess. So next question, as we pivot to slightly more less nonsensy, although this one is a bit of trash talk, from Grandmaster Jakob Agard, newly crowned chess magnate. He asks, have you ever played 1e4?
Bunch of times. But interesting question from Jakob, who's written or has books on every opening in the world and keeps saying, I might suck at chess, but it's a different skill set, all this training at these books and so on. So interesting coming from him.
I'm here for...
No, but I'm mainly working as a second. I've worked in 1e4 for 3 World Championship matches for 2 top 10 players, if you want credentials.
I'm here for a Gusti Agard Perpetual Chess rivalry. I'm interviewing him soon, so don't think that you're getting the last word.
Don't expect to. I don't have time for the X game. Very tough.
Okay, so the aggressive E4, Jan, I bought it this time. Chessable didn't send it to me.
Finally.
Chessable didn't send it to me in time, so I had to reach deep into my pockets and get it on my own. But super impressive, because unknown fact about me, although people actually listen to this podcast may have heard me mention it once or twice, but I played the Milner Berry back in the day. Long time Milner Berry fan before it was cool. So I was very excited to see you bring that back.
Pardon my ignorance. What's the Milner Berry?
It's in the advanced French. It's one of the...
the advanced French.
Yeah.
And there's Paul Sacrifice.
Yeah, I don't know what they call it in German, but anyway, I was excited to see
Probably Milner Berry. I just never know opening names. People keep telling me then the fried liver, this, that. I don't know what that is. Give me chess books.
But I thought they were both, that and the fantasy were surprising choices to my mind. What went into the fantasy against the Caro-Kann, we should say? What went into those choices? Those spicy choices?
I'm not sure. Like, I tried to keep it a bit spicy because part 1 was E4, E5, where I did all this aggressive stuff with the Dubov line, whatever it's called in the Italian, the C3, G4, B4, Knight F6, Knight G5. And basically the approach coming in was, I want to avoid too many structures and I want to make life tough by making it very move by move, being very aggressive. And I thought those two sort of fit the bill there. Although then I have to admit, and I think it's a good thing for the course, but that doing the Open Sicilian, which is the big part of it, it's like biggest part is Open Sicilian, and then there's Caro-Kann and French. Then I was getting a little competitive, not just trying to make it random, but also trying to find ideas that, first of all, weren't all that well covered out there, and that would be interesting. But there, sometimes I broke the rule. It has to be chaos and super random, quote unquote, and I just try to find fresh stuff. But yeah, to answer the question, there's what's called Milner Berry.
There you go. You're natural.
I think I was a bit late. I was very, very happy when I came across this for the first time. This delayed pawn sacrifice, e5, c5, c3, knight c6, knight f3, queen b6. Bishop d3, bishop d7.
Keep going. You're in too deep now.
I think I forgot to say c4. C4 castles. Anyway, this delayed pawn sacrifice. I was very impressed with it. I was carrying it around with me for a couple years. Not that it was my idea. Other people also knew, but it was used to be made very, very niche and very cool. And now it's become a little mainstream. It's been covered in other places as well, and strong players have started playing it. So I still think it's cool, but it lost a bit of the bam. This is super fresh, but I still thought it was too cool not to include in the course. But I didn't know you played it in the 1980s already.
Yeah. I got there a long time ago. Welcome to the club. But it could use some updating. I mean, back in the day, it just there reached a point where it was tough to play, like at a certain level. So I'm sure your upgraded idea.
No, they used to recapture on d4, right?
Exactly.
I mean, this short castles.
Yeah.
The new angle and then ignoring the recapturing. This was the big new thing.
And in the Open Sicilian...
Sorry, Neil Bruce, if we're spitting out too many moves.
Yeah. And in the Open Sicilian, I was, as a Sveshnikov player, I was pleasantly, I guess, surprised. The only opening you dodged, the only opening Sicilian you dodged, is it just that good? Or did you just like e4, c5, knight f3, knight c6, knight c3? Did you just like those lines that much?
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Like, I also had material for the Sveshnikov and the Kalashnikov, which is really what you're dodging by starting with knight c3 instead of d4. But I think knight c3 is an underrated, at least practical choice, because the two quote-unquote good moves for black, if they don't want to transpose back to whatever, the Taimanov or something, are 3e5 and 3g6, the accelerated dragon. And 3e5, I think Sicilian players just don't like these positions, and understandably, white goes bishop c4, d3, reshuffles the knight. You get some close position with a weak square on d5 that I think is unpleasant for Sicilian players. And g6, this accelerated dragon, I had an idea that I liked with this d4, cd, knight d4. I know Perpetual Chess has big production value, so there will be this little board where you can replay every single move.
If you don't see it on YouTube, just look harder.
refresh. Bishop e3, knight f6, knight takes c6. I thought that was a cool practical line to put pressure. So at the end of the day, the thankless thing with doing wide repertoires is that every line is equal if you keep clicking enough. So you're trying to pose problems and try to surprise people a little bit. And I felt that was a better area than good old Sveshnikov, Kalashnikov. But it's always a judgment call. You can choose any line and try to make it work. But I like that one for the quiz.
Okay, so this may make this question kind of pointless if, like, basically black's going to be fine no matter what. But if you were to power rank the top 5 Sicilians in terms of ease of let's say ease of approaching equality for black, how would you rank them?
Not sure there's 5 that ease approaching equality. Well, let's think. I think Najdorf is still king. Like, not so much because it's easy to click your way home, but because of soundness and how rich it is and how many options both sides have. So Najdorf number 1. Sveshnikov is the question what we define as Sveshnikov. If we say knight c6, d4, takes, knight d4, knight f6, knight c3, e5, that's still a good area, but it also allows in this move order 3 bishop b5, the Rossolimo, or 3 knight c3. So I'm not sure, but I would guess you put Sveshnikov up there, probably number 2. Number 3, this what's called the Sicilian 4 knights with e6, knight f6, knight c6 is all the rage because you can click your way through knight takes c6 and knight db5. You can transpose to Sveshnikov or go bishop b4. Sorry, I hope we're not losing anybody here. It's Ben who's making me talk about chess.
Moves,
I want to talk.
You want to talk about the NBA.
76ers. Right to Ricky Sanchez. What's going on? So number 3, classic Sicilian. Number 4, what do we put at number 4? Good old Taimanov, maybe. Although Taimanov, I mean, gives white so many options. So I'm not sure. And what else is there? I'm probably forgetting one Sicilian. I don't like the Rouser that much. Gives white too many choices. Accelerate Dragon is a bit trashy. Kalashnikov sort of works.
I feel like it's making a bit of a comeback, the Kalashnikov.
Yeah, it's out there, although it's very closely related to the Sveshnikov. So I'm not sure we can have them both on the list. Dragon is not really a thing. Scheveningen.
Well, listen, you don't have to force it. If there's only 4 good Sicilians.
I'm running through my list of Sicilians. But I think there's only 4.
Okay.
Sorry, Rouser people. It's a horrible opening.
And your fellow German, Jan-Peter Schmidt, asked, would you have made top 10 if someone had given you an aggressive 1e4 repertoire as a kid?
I think that is the one thing that held me back. I had all the tools. I had the grit, the determination, the skills, the biceps, but I lacked the aggressive 1e4 repertoire. And now that's out there. I'm too old, so I'm passing the baton of knowledge to the younger generations and the adult improvers that are young at heart to use that.
It's daunting, I gotta say. I mean, the idea is like just in doing the half of the quick starter that I did in getting ready for this, you had a lot of fresh ideas, but the amount of material, I don't know how anyone keeps up with openings. It's insane these days.
Yeah, no shortcuts. I didn't want to go for shortcuts. Of course, the easiest thing is to say, yeah, Sicilian, you play the Alapin French, you play the exchange, Caro-Can, whatever. You also go ED5, CD5, Bishop D3, then you play C3, Bishop F4. That's why people are attracted to the Verisov and the London system and so on. But if you want to put pressure and if you want to improve, I believe it's good to, play main lines and there have ideas. I don't expect everybody to memorize every single move in my or anybody's course, but you pick ideas you like and then maybe you have a tournament game or you encounter a line a bunch of times in your blitz games and you can look it up. So I agree with you. It's too much, even for the top players. I mean, everybody has these big databases of stuff, but no one can keep everything in their head. It's about collecting material, making a mental note. This I could use there, and then. Maybe start playing the blitz. But yeah, it's a lot. Openings are tough.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Summer holidays now.
Yeah, although your co-author Vieko did give some good advice right at the beginning about like the best way to approach it if you are going to try to learn it. Basically, learn the quick starter, play a lot, and when questions come up, go from there.
Gotta combine it. It's impossible to just sit there and try to memorize moves in general. I've never been a big fan of memorizing. And also top players, they never do that. I mean, they might repeat some files before a game, but I've never seen a training camp where anybody sits down to memorize anything. Like you go through stuff, you think, okay, this is interesting, then you play some training games. But it's never like what I think is scaring many people away. It's like learning whatever. Foreign language. Okay, it's a bad reference for Americans. You don't do foreign languages. So, but yeah, anyway, I think you gotta combine it with practice and with ideally having an interest in research or in the position and trying to figure out stuff. Because yeah, it's a lot of information, but what can you do? Put it out there and then hope people put it together, use it.
Yeah. Well, Grandmaster Alex Cholovich, your fellow Chessable author, has recently had a few comments on X that he feels like he's putting stuff in opening repertoires and it's appearing at the Grandmaster level like quite rapidly, to the extent that maybe it's in his head, but maybe not. But he's feeling like people are getting their hands on this and employing it very quickly. Have you seen any of your fresher suggestions out in the wild in Grandmaster games yet?
No.
Not yet?
No one's ever playing any of my moves. Even the people I'm working for, they say, nah, I'll play my own stuff. Leave me alone with the nonsense.
Except for Knight H2 that you're taking credit for, whether you...
No, I don't know. Gotta sell the courses, but it's also... People have engines nowadays, so it's not like there are any gigantic secrets. It's really much more about picking the lines and finding something that you think might surprise opponents than claiming, I'm such a big genius, I found this move that no one's ever thought of before, and it's crushing the opponent. That just doesn't work because everybody has the same resources and can look at stuff. So it's more about, information and expanding your horizons, finding something. And if, of course, you have a Chessable course, I sometimes do this. Maybe I should mention this, but for example, I was buying like Fabi's courses, Wesley's course, to try to figure out, will they actually play this, or is this, just a misdirect, and you try to look for stuff you don't know from the top players. Anish's courses I was checking. So it's always very interesting to see what directions people are putting out there. And then also the meta game, is that actually what they want to play, or is that what they don't want to play? So they put it in the course. But as for the moves themselves, we can all switch on our super remote engines and read the options they're giving us 0-0. So it's not like it's such a big industry of secrets like it used to be.
And when you did buy their courses to check to see if they played stuff, did you encounter it? Or the people you were working for, did you see these openings, or did it usually transpire that they didn't end up playing them?
I didn't look at the courses. I learned from the adult improvers. You just buy stuff and you ignore it, and then you buy some other stuff. And that way, through osmosis, you get there.
Exactly, yeah. Well said. All right. Next question is relating to the Olympiad. This one is from Christian Kloof, who says, what are your expectations for the Chess Olympiad, especially the German teams, but also the other teams?
Don't care about the others. As for the German team, we're, of course, very motivated. It's going to be tough. I think the lineups just came out. I saw some lists on chess results. Some strong teams there. Ray Robson for the USA. Germany is like number 10, somewhere like that by rating average. So obviously the goal is to do well. I think top 8 is important for some financial implications. I know. Love to talk finances here, because then you get more, I don't know how stuff works. More money from the government because you made a certain tier for support of blah, blah, blah. And obviously if things go well, you're dreaming of the medals. But seriously, no, that was serious, but I've been around so many Olympiads and played some. Usually it comes down to who you get in the last round and how you do there. You lose to a top team, you might end up out of the top 10. You get a non-top team, beat them, or even better, beat a top team, and all of a sudden you're up there. It's very hard to make reliable predictions because so much with this Swiss system comes down to the pairings in the final rounds. So what you want to do is have everybody well prepared and ideally play good chess. Then you live with the results, but it's about maximizing EV, as always. That's what everything comes down to. Basketball, football, chess. Can't plan the results, but you can try to maximize EV.
Did you feel that the German national team in football, did they maximize their EV? It's tough pairing against Spain, it seemed to my non-expert football eyes.
I'm not a big football guy. I watched that match, of course, and I thought Germany, well, once again, I don't really have a clue. I thought Germany did all right. It was the toughest game for Spain. We got robbed, of course, with that penalty not given. But yeah, I think they played well. Spirit around the country was quite positive. The European Championship was here. I had some train trips, met a lot of football fans around the country. Vibe was good. People realize Germany is like 50 years behind any other civilized country when it comes to trains not being on time, and you can't pay with a card here. Better bring cash. Bring euros, people, if you come to Germany. We don't accept your fancy Visa or MasterCards. It's not happening. But other than that, it was good. But yeah, I saw Tony Kroos. My guy Tony Kroos had 99% accuracy in completed passes in one match. Kramnik's team of informants already all over that.
That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm a very casual football fan. And I mean, what strikes me about the game, I'm sure, shout out to all the European listeners. I'm sure you guys won't love hearing this, but the EV of whether they happen to call a penalty or not is so massive. It's like,
it's too much, right? That's why basketball is better.
Yeah.
Like, you might lose a point or two with the foul calls, but you get a lot of bites at the apple. Well, football, it's 1-1, and then they give a penalty or not, and that's the tournament. It's rough.
It's always so close, too. It's like you could completely justify either way, you know? It's
Netherlands got robbed, no, with that other penalty. Anyway, it seems like it. These things are very decisive, Kasim.
Yeah, but it is, I mean, I just like how into it people are. That makes it fun for me to watch, even as I grumble about the penalties.
You like the fandom?
Yeah. I love the pageantry. I just want to see people care about something, you know? Life is tough, you know?
I'm trying. Gotta care about something. Gotta try to enjoy things, but it's a grind.
Yeah.
Anyway, chess. Are you following like the recent chess events? I'm taking a break from my chess following. I haven't caught up with Biel very much. I just saw the games of the German boys. Champions Chess Tour is happening. Who else is there? Grand Chess Tour. What's the thing in Dubai? The league thing? Global Chess League or something?
Yeah, I'm holding out for the Olympiad. I like the big events, you know. Otherwise, there's a lot. But I mean, sometimes I tune in and get captivated. But in terms of like appointment viewing, I haven't been dialed in. We have one more related to the Olympiad question. I believe this might be the last. Oh no, not quite the last X question. It is Germany has the second highest number of grandmasters in the world after Russia, but we don't see that.
But they all suck. Why is that?
Exactly. We don't see that translate into big events like World Champion Candidates Olympiad. Is there any reason for this?
I don't know. It's a common question. You could give the usual blah, blah, chess culture, more lucrative to pursue a career, start studying. Germans finish high school while some others might become professionals or start working early on. But I don't know. It's also random. Vinny's pretty good. Magnus Carlsen is pretty good. I'm not sure Norway had a big chess professional culture before that. Sometimes you just need a guy to inspire the masses. It's always the big talking point here. What's the date reference? Where's the Boris Becker of chess?
Did you watch that Boris Becker documentary? There's a callback for you.
I watched a bunch where I've seen something recently about his financial.
Oh yeah, it's a mess. So when I interviewed Robert Hungoski, he mentioned this Apple TV documentary on Boris Becker about like the ups and downs of his career. It's like 5 hours in total, 4 different parts. But yeah, fascinating life.
Sounds great.
I echo Robert's recommendation for.
I envy him. Living in Monaco at age 16, being mentored by Ian Nepomniachtchi. What's not to like?
Well, he's had but he's had a fall from grace. I mean, he's the tax stuff and the finances.
I was being tongue in cheek.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're not what they used to be. Okay. Important question. So your match with Eddie, which we discussed briefly, I believe, last time. So Robert asks, does he think Eddie will manage a draw in the 1,000-game match against him? And did you read, you're going to have to explain this one, Das Systematische Schachtraining by Samarian, and how do you regard it, if so? But let's start with Eddie.
Yeah, I mean, it's still ongoing. People seem to enjoy it, but you know how it is with the internet. We took a couple months break. This is my match where I play against my friend Ettienne, very, very famous German TV host, incredibly famous. It's what he told me. Hey, he's whatever. He's a chess enthusiastic beginner, and he thought out of 1,000 games he should be able to win one against a grandmaster. I don't think so. He got close in one, has to be admitted, but I'm leading 100, 104, 105 to 0, and now it's become a battle of attrition. Like, must be very painful to lose all the time. people seem to like it because I say, yeah, I can learn from his errors or from my explanations. But I think I'll be able to break him to finally give up.
And this is all streamed on Janistan TV in German?
Yeah. On Twitch, Janistan TV, YouTube, Janistan TV. It's highly entertaining.
And
the good thing is, where I don't do it, people are saying I really miss the format. And where I do it, all the comments are, why are you doing this? It's pointless. The guy is not learning anything. Right. You're wasting my time. Apologies. I mean, it's so hard to win on the internet.
Got to stop reading the comments. But
never.
But of course,
I need the price.
You know, I got to ask if there's money on the line. Always interested
not
in
really.
The finances.
No, just clicks.
Okay.
You know how it is. There's millions in these YouTube clicks, man.
That's true. Yeah, the long game.
Very long.
All right.
How long does it take?
Well, more than 105 games, apparently.
Running out of time.
But you never know. You don't want to be the proverbial guy digging for gold who stops right before you hit, you know?
Could be any day now.
Exactly. All right. Question from Jonathan O'Connor. What is the origin story of Chess24?
I'm not sure I'm at liberty to speak. It's gone. Poor Chess24.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a fun ride. 10 years on Girl Chess24. It's different times. But yeah, it's gone now. Sorry, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Can't go into details.
Yeah, we miss it. But I mean, some of the elements have been transferred, but I definitely miss you and FIDE. Got to get the band back together.
I miss FIDE too. And I still haven't found a place. Maybe that's why I stopped watching chess games. I know you can watch on Lichess and Chess.com, but I was so used to the Chess24 app to follow the live games. What's going on there? Chess industry. Give me an app.
Yeah. I miss it as well. All right, Jan, believe it or not, I think we got all the questions. Are we going to do like some hardcore NBA nonsense now or just wrap up? We did spend...
Is this your new approach to podcasting? You just post on Twitter, got questions for next guest, then you read them out, and then when you're done reading them out, all right, that's it for today? What's happening here? You used to prepare, like do background interviews, come with hard-hitting questions.
Listen, I did half the quick starter.
Wow.
But...
Shocking.
But yeah, listen, when you asked to come on 4 months later, I only have so many questions. I'm about one person. I tried to grill you on the finances. You dodge all the hard questions.
That's the only question. How much money you got?
I'm more interested in, I mean, of course, you're welcome to tell Donnie Ariel, FIDE Master, I am elect. Possibly Donnie Ariel.
I am elect. Is that happening?
Well, it's a funny backstory because for a long time, especially people who've been listening for a long time, he had all 3 IM norms, but he didn't make the rating requirement. I'm sorry, Donnie, that we're bringing up a sore subject. So for a while, I didn't know, is that an IM elect or is that just you're still an FM until you reach the rating requirement?
Just Donnie, right?
Yeah.
You're not elect until you're eligible.
Yeah, exactly. So sorry to twist the knife, Donnie, but
I'll get some angry texts
if you listen, which is like 30%, something like
that. When I come on, he's listening.
That's true. Okay, so next up, you've got the Olympiad. Any travels before then that are disclosed, or like chess-wise?
No, I'm going to Spain with my kids. It's probably too warm, right?
Canary Islands. I know you're a big enthusiast.
No, not really. No, I'm going to close to Barcelona. I don't know. It's gonna be warm.
Any Bundesliga action? It's not the season, right?
No, it's the off season. Like, it is. My agent is still negotiating if we want to opt in, opt out. Like it's.
If they want to put me on the call, I'm willing to listen in. No, gotta hear the negotiations. Okay, and anything after the Olympiad?
I can't plan that long. It's actually a problem. I don't know how it is for you, because you never tell me about your finances, how you spend your days. But what's the technical term? Freelancer or self-employed or unemployed, one of those? you gotta find stuff to do to make money. No, it's unpleasant.
Yeah.
Like I should get a job where people just send you money, and then at some point they figure out you're not doing anything. Like this, I have to do stuff to make money and have to think about what to do.
Eat what to kill.
Unpleasant.
Yeah, it's brutal. I'm with you.
So no, I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead.
Okay. And all right, regular non-NBA fans can turn off now. We got to discuss.
Well, we haven't talked about TV. Presumed Innocent.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You're watching Presumed Innocent?
I'm not. It's being discussed a lot. How is it?
Very good. Final episode coming next week. At the time of recording.
Okay.
Can't wait.
Excellent.
Did you see the movie with Harrison Ford?
Back in the day, yeah.
1989?
Yeah, back in the day, I did see the movie. Any other silly me, TV recommendations or movie?
No. I haven't watched The Bear Season 3. People say it's bad compared to Bear Season 1 and 2.
We're almost
disappointing.
done. Yeah, it's not as good, but the cinematography is good. You know, that's high production values. So I still enjoy it, but they're definitely like, they're not advancing the storyline at the same pace, you could say.
That's also often the case. No, you work on something, I don't know, probably a long time, then it's a surprise hit, and then you gotta come up with a new season every couple months. It's rough to keep up the good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you start out on a chess podcast, spacing out your guests by a year. Before you know it, same guy's on 4 months later.
He is so untrue. Like, how often was Greg on? He's like 14 appearances. He's on every other week.
He hasn't been on in a long time because he's busy. You know, he's like a trivia champion now. This is I Am Greg Shahade.
Trivia champion?
Yeah. He's grinding like he's learning new facts about the world, like 24/7.
Wow. Is he doing that while enjoying his... what was his? He goes to random cities and lives his freewheeling lifestyle.
Yeah,
like,
a lot of time.
What a life this guy has.
A lot of time.
Does he have some kids now?
No. Not that I'm aware of. Yeah, you should check for him. He's in Barcelona like half the time. So when you go to Spain,
I haven't heard from Greg in a while. I'll try to track him down to Spain.
Nice, excellent. And I'm ready for a blitz rematch 30 years later from your last one. Okay. Oh, so Sixers off season. Let's get to the hard-hitting stuff. Paul George, what do you think?
Gotta do it, no?
Yeah.
It's what the Clippers thought back then as well.
I'm a big...
No, it looks exciting, but the Sixers... I don't know. It's always the same, no?
Yeah.
Will Embiid be healthy 1 year for the playoffs? Then you guys have a shot. If not, you don't. Like, I mean, what else is there to say?
Yeah, and I'm not sure if he has he doesn't seem to want the ball in the biggest moments. He's not like Jan Gustafsson.
Oh, mental.
Yeah.
Nah, I want that ball. So it's pretty good, no? Like, you need pretty good players as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm very addicted to podcasts. So I've been listening to all kinds of very niche stuff. Like, I'm listening to The Rights to Ricky Sanchez.
Unbelievable that you mentioned that. You know, I listened to every episode for like 5 years. They're very good.
Yeah,
but that's
Down to Dunk, the Oklahoma City fan podcast I'm listening to. Like, I'm listening to very random things. Rights to Ricky Sanchez is a bit like Perpetual Chess. It's good stuff, but you got to make it through the first 5 minutes where they list all the sponsors. Like, it's a grind.
Right.
We know whatever jewelry. Still on board.
Yeah. What's this? The seltzer. The surf side.
Yeah. Anyway, shout out to Rice to Ricky Sanchez.
Yeah,
big fan.
we're ready for the guest appearances. All right, Jan, pleasure as always. The course called Spicy One. Jan Gustafsson's Vieko doesn't get his name in the in the title. Jan Gustafsson's Spicy 1E4 repertoire. It is.
I really don't think that's what it's called, but by it anyway. Aggressive 1E4 repertoire.
Thank you. Yes, aggressive. Okay.
It's a two-parter. You can get both. Part 1 is still fresh out of the print as well. Gives you complete repertoire. Gets 1E4. If you don't want to, maneuver around, go crush your opponents. 1E4, bam, move them.
I will say, it got me inspired studying it yesterday. I've been kind of not studying chess the past month or so, taking a bit of a break. But I was like, I want to bring this back. I want to play 1E4. But you can't play it on like an account with your name, so it's hard. I got to make a new anonymous account. Like, it's a grind, but
it's a jungle out there. Like, yeah.
But anyone who made it through the Sixers part and is still listening and plays me will now know to check Jan's course for what I'm going to play against you.
There you go.
All right.
I don't believe a word you're saying, but I appreciate you keeping up the act of the it's out to prove a thing. No one's working harder on his chess than Ben Johnson. That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
Excellent. All right, so Jan and I will be back next week with another guest. Thanks to everyone.
Who are we talking to? Can you reveal it?
I mean, I've got Jakob lined up. I just don't know if I'm going to slot in someone before then.
I know. Awkward. Let's do somebody else.
Okay, possibly Feingold. Possibly the collab we've all been waiting for. The Gusti Feingold collab. Except, to be clear, we're just kidding. Unless Jan wants to join. All right. On that note, thank you.
Which one is it? All these mixed signals. I can't do it. Right. Bye. Thanks, Ben. Been a great pleasure.
Yes, thank you.
Keep up the good work, chesspunks.